Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Well, it's the time that a lot of you guys have been waiting for, and that is to see how the Ratty Satty, our 1968 Plymouth Satellite, holds up on the drag strip. Now this year, quite honestly, I'm looking for a little bit of redemption. This beautiful old girl right here managed to run a lightning fast 18.5-second pass last year. Very embarrassing, not gonna lie. We broke everything, didn't know a whole lot about the car, but it had been sitting for a very long time and everything broke. Transmission issues, fuel issues, carburetor issues, every issue you could imagine we had last year. And so since then, full engine build, full suspension build. It's got a cage, it's got chassis stiffening, it's got a whole bunch of stuff. You guys can see these beautiful white bottles here in the back. It's also got a full nitrous setup on it as well. And yeah, looking to hopefully make a whole lot better times this year than we did last year. Now, I know I did not do a full-blown install on the nitrous install, guys. I'm going to walk through it here in just a second before we get to that racing footage, but overall, the installation is pretty straightforward. Now, like I showed you guys here just a second ago, you guys can see my bottles are mounted here on the inside of the cabin, so that creates a few different issues if you're looking to do that. First and foremost, if you have them in the cabin, you have to actually run a NHRA blow-off valve, so that's the need for the large stainless tubes there that you guys can see are kind of swooping up and then going down to the floor. Now, in the case that there's a rupture or anything like that, it's meant to basically purge all the nitrous out of the bottles and vent them outside of the car, so that way you're not gassing everybody that's on the inside of the car. So, but the mounting is pretty straightforward. Ended up welding up some tubing here, mounted the fancy looking bracket there to the back side of it. But man, the kit is absolutely spectacular. Super simple install. And then really from there was able to run the braided line up front and to our engine. And now looking here at the nitrous plates, you guys can see that our plates just simply replaced the carburetor spacers that were on the bottom side of the carbs. Previously I had to run spacers because the linkage on the Edelbrock VRS 4150s is a bit long, and so it was actually scraping against the tunnel ram. So it made for an easy change out, and I also didn't have to lengthen or change out any of my tubing that I previously had. Now with nitrous, there's two different sides to it. You have a fuel side and you have a nitrous side. So with both sides, I really tried to keep it all hard-lined as much as I could. I did have to run one soft line over to the regulator, so that way we had fuel that was at a consistent PSI. And yeah, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. On this side, you guys can see we have two solenoids here, one for the nitrous and then also one for the purge. And I ended up running that purge line through a simple little bulkhead plate there that I put together, and the purge actually runs out right here in front of the windshield. I tell you what, it does freak people out on the drag strip when you hit that button. It's pretty funny. But as far as the wiring goes, really simple, really straightforward. Same thing again. I did make my life a whole lot easier, and I did install the painless wiring 7-circuit kit. So the kit has like a couple circuits. I want to say it's 3 or 4 that are like battery hot, and then the other ones are 12-volt ignition hot. And by doing that, I eliminated a huge bird nest of wiring underneath the dash. That was the fuel pump, the water pump, my fans, the nitrous, everything else. Yeah, it's about a half mile of wiring that we got out from underneath of there. You guys may or may not remember, but this car actually had 2 full wiring harnesses. One from the Plymouth Satellite, the other one from the motorhome that they stole this engine out of. Had 2 of everything. 2 ignition ballasts, 2 harnesses. I can't explain it, but it's all gone now, so don't worry about that. Now, when it comes down to the timing, I tell you what, like every single event that I seem to go to nowadays, it's always a mad rush to get everything together. So 2 weeks ago, we did a full engine teardown rebuild, regapped the rings, put a fat-ass cam in it. Runs awesome. I had the chance to maybe do 3 or 4 pulls in front of the house here. Ran really good, pulled it straight into the garage, tore it down again to install the nitrous setup on it. By the time that I found a place where I could actually fill the nitrous, which I want to say was like 15 bucks a pound, so, or 20 bucks a pound, one of those. It was really expensive. It was about $250 to fill both the bottles. By the time I found that and then got home, had my buddy come over to help me tune it and work out all the bugs, it was literally a half hour before we put this car in the trailer. So I won't say it was completely untested before Tucson, but we were able to adjust increased slightly the fuel pressure. We got the car running pretty happy here. Now, granted, the elevation much different in Utah versus down in Tucson. The temperature about 20 degrees warmer in Tucson as well. So we had a couple factors working against us. But man, overall, I've never driven a car with nitrous. It's absolutely a riot. It's a lot of fun, and this only has 100 shot in it right now. So the kit itself comes with enough jets and things, I want to say, to run like a 600 shot. Obviously, would never do that, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of different combinations that you guys can run in it. So I would say with the pistons that we have in it, with the setup we have now, probably 200, 250, maybe max, before we have to tear it down. And of course, we're going to do that. We might as well do a stroker. So yeah, I'm kind of all over the place, but I've got a lot of plans for this car, because even though we made our fastest pass in Tucson, I still want to make the car a whole lot faster. Now, before I get to the racing footage, I want you guys to drop into the comments below, throw what you guys think is the fastest ET and mile per hour that this car ran in Tucson. Whoever gets it the closest is going to get their choice of free merch, so be sure to drop a comment below. And also, guys, I am definitely not a professional racer. You guys will see my reaction times were shitty. Yeah, I was leaving almost a half second on the line, which is not good. But yeah, if you guys see anything else that I can do better driving, or different tuning, or different things that we should be doing to make this car better, don't hesitate, drop them in the comments as well. So without further ado, I'm gonna quit talking and let's hop in to the racing footage from Tucson, Arizona at Duct Tape Drags 2024. Alright, you guys, we'll jump in straight into it here. It's about 15 minutes until drag races start. And guess who's lined up in the pole position here? So it's all of our crew from Utah. We're the first ones on the track this year for drag racing, so a stark difference from what happened in Vegas for Matt's. But of course, we got the Dart here, we've got the Challenger, we've got the Max Wagon, we've got a Roadrunner back there. Of course, we have the Ratty Satty back there. Now, I do plan on making the first run without nitrous to kind of see how we do. What do you think I'm gonna run?
A solid 15.
15
No,
off the trailer?
I'd say probably, it's going to be, because you're going to have tuning and stuff, so I'm going to say your first honest run's probably going to be low 13s.
Low 13s? That's a whole lot better than the 18.5 second quarter mile pass that we got last time.
I know, I'm just surprised you actually even made one complete run.
I know. We're hoping to redeem ourselves from that travesty from last year. So we got Cameron here in his Dart. 4-speed Dart, right? Yep. Okay, we got the Roadrunner, like I mentioned. I'm going to be racing the Gasser Valiant, owned by my buddy Kevin. This thing's wicked. It's a 440 car, and it's pretty rad. Of course, we got the beautiful Ratty Satty here with that gorgeous nitrous setup there. Got a killer pickup here that we've seen. This thing's absolutely awesome. We've got Sean with his Coronet. We've also got, starting to get loud over here, we've also got a very slow Dart owned by my friend Jeremy Williams that called us out, that we will be planning to race here hopefully by the end of the evening. So get ready to get the nerves out. I'm so excited, you guys, and we're gonna see what this thing can do. So I'm gonna go ahead, get into the car, get strapped down, get my helmet on, and let's go ahead and make this first pass.
Kitty litter. So again, that's something you don't want to get into either.
Like a friggin' rocket, dude. And I found myself not gassing it all the way too, which is definitely a problem. So let's see what it came out to be. Thanks, dude. 13.6. We could definitely do a whole lot better than that. Especially on nitrous. I guess we're consistent. 13.5. I thought we were gonna go a lot faster that time. It felt faster, but man, we'll get there. Alright, you guys, so we're ready to run the nitrous. I went ahead, I retarded the ignition timing 4 degrees on initial and total, and yeah, ready to start hitting the button here. So hopefully we make a big difference. Those first 2 passes, the car ran exceptional. You know, 13.6 and then a 13.5 with basically the exact same mile an hour each time. So if nothing else, we've got a really good bracket race car, I guess. But yeah, so with the nitrous, I'm really hoping to break into the 12. So fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. Alrighty guys, well it's day 2 out here. Had some time to think and reflect a little bit last night. Ended up putting 2 degrees of advance back in the car, so it's sitting at 32 now. For whatever reason, it did not like, whether it be the nitrous, whether it be the timing or the fuel or what have you, but we've got our fuel pressure regulator set. It's pumping 6 pounds. Everything else should be good. Our nitrous bottles they were very overpressurized yesterday from 108 degree heat. So now that that's hopefully fixed, very first race of the day today, we got called out by our friend Jeremy over at Sorta Stock Mopars. So he's got a 493 Dodge Dart that we're gonna be racing here in just a minute. So we gotta start the car and move up in the staging lanes, but hopefully we can whoop some ass. next at 108. Woo! Hell yeah! All right, so just definitely ran the best pass of the weekend really so far. 12.6, 108 miles an hour. Much, much better. I think the car's happier with being at 32 degrees of timing. And also it definitely helps that the car is not running down the strip at 220 degrees, because it is really, really hard to keep this car cool, especially when it's 108 outside. So I bet you it's every bit of 100 degrees already here. I'm trying to push this thing through the staging lanes and get to the front, and trying to keep the temps down. I was able to actually make that pass only at 165 degrees. So I think for several reasons, it ran the best that it has so far. Now you guys saw, unfortunately, Jeremy ended up getting pulled to race with somebody else. They wouldn't let us race each other. So we're gonna try again to settle this grudge, but we basically said, however we finish this, whoever's the fastest is gonna win that $100. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. Head up to the front. We are, I think, 2 or 3 from being next. So get this camera set up and let's win this $100. I don't know what changed that time, but we were backfired most of that entire way. Definitely slower than last time. Thank you. A 12.975 at 108. The mile per hour is consistent, but man, we could be so much faster if it wasn't backfired. Like low 12s, high 11s, I think. Just taking a lot out of it, not being able to punch it all the way. You didn't have shit. You did have a great tree though. 040.
I started pulling.
pretty good.
The power band. I'm like, fuck yeah. And then as soon as I went to go to second and it bounced back because it didn't go in, I was like, no. Let's try it again.
I'll give you another chance we can line up.
Oh, I'll do it again.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it again. Okay. I think he's having big issues. So am I, quite honestly. The car's running at 220 degrees. 110 out here. Pretty brutal. I don't think I hit a 12-second pass that time though. We'll have to see. When I put on the nitrous, the car just doesn't like it for some reason. So could be timing, could be fuel. I had a good purge that time, so I know I'm getting plenty of nitrous. The bottles are looking good, so got to kind of dial it in and tweak it a little bit, but I still think that we can probably hit a low 12, if not a high 11, with the right punch. Yeah, that sucked a 13.2. Honestly, it backfired almost the entire way down the whole strip. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now, as you saw, the fastest pass that we made in Tucson this year was a 12.6 at 108 miles an hour. It's definitely not where I wanted to be with the car. Granted, it's 6 seconds faster than the car ran last year, which is great. But quite honestly, I really believe that this is an 11-second car all day with the current setup and also with the current nitrous shot that we have in the car. Now, the factors that were working against us. First and foremost, it was 110 degrees every day that we were there in Tucson. The track temp was closer to 150. So brutally hot. I struggled all weekend to actually keep the car cool, and even pushing it through the staging lanes and running my water pump and cooling fans while, you know, the engine was turned off. It was very, very slow to come down. And then really by the time that I got back to the pits, you guys can probably see the gauge that was kind of the bottom to the right on my console there is my temp gauge, and you guys can see that thing just continuing to climb. So the car was not super happy there. Another issue that we had, fuel delivery. Now, looking back at the instructions from Nitrous Express, they do recommend actually having a dedicated fuel pump and regulator for the nitrous, because as I was making those pulls, you guys can see it turn a little bit lean on my AFR gauge there. So when you do that, you start melting shit. That's a bad thing. You don't want that, okay? I definitely don't want that. I really don't want to do another teardown anytime soon, because of course then we have to do a stroker and all the other stuff that comes with that when we do a teardown. But yeah, we got to figure out our fuel delivery issues, and then really from there, guys, I just need a whole lot more time behind the wheel. Full disclosure, that was the first time on the drag strip that I've had since Tucson last year. Didn't get to run it in Vegas this year, unfortunately, so it's been really a full year. I need a lot more track time on this car to make this thing even faster. Of course, starts at the burnout box. I could definitely do some better burnouts there, better reaction times, better fuel delivery, and then of course once we get all those things figured out, then we can start bumping up the nitrous and making this car even faster. So if you guys picked up anything else watching this video, I'm all ears, very open to feedback, very open to your comments below. Toss them down there, and man, the car made it home. It's not hurt. Drove it up here to where I'm filming today, and yeah, I continue to fall more and more and more in love with this car every single time I drive it. Now, what's next for the Ratty Satty? Well, I definitely owe you guys some videos of me just doing nitrous pulls to kind of show you guys the difference there. So once I work through the tuning, I'll show you guys what I changed. We'll hit the button a few times, have some fun with it, and yeah, really start to unlock the potential of this car. And now the other issue that we absolutely have to figure out is how to best keep this car cool to avoid having to push it through the staging lanes and have all the issues that we did. I know that 110-degree weather is not ideal for drag racing, but this car does like to get a little bit warm here in Utah, and I'd love to be able to drive it a whole lot further than what I have so far. So if you guys have any recommendations, drop your setup below, or any tips or tricks for keeping your cars cool. I'd love to hear them, and as I go through and experiment with different things, of course I'll be sure to share it with you guys as well. Now, aside from the Satty content, we've got a bunch more Charger stuff coming up. Still looking to hopefully get that car in color here in the next few weeks. We've also got another build coming into the shop for some pretty serious metal work as well. So a whole lot happening, and I don't have nearly the time to do it all. But thank you guys all so much for coming along on this journey with me, and yeah, look forward to sharing it all with you guys. So take care. I'll see y'all again real soon.